Battery swapping is cheaper than charging now. There's something very important happening here in China, and that is the fact that EV charging prices have absolutely skyrocketed. At most places, they have absolutely doubled because charging used to be really cheap back a year ago, 2 years ago. Now it is just absolutely super expensive, and it's making people doubt and really question whether or not they should purchase an EV because it's so expensive, and it's almost as expensive as gasoline cars. But this whole situation is actually benefiting NIO twofold, and I'll be explaining why in a second. First of all, you got to understand why there's this influx, the rise in charging prices. And this is mostly because EVs in general and also NEVs, which include hybrids and EREVs, have been selling tremendously well. And you see a lot more of these green plate cars on the road here in China. And that means a bigger demand for charging infrastructure. And charging infrastructure really hasn't grown as much as the deliveries of these NEVs in general. So there's a scarcity of chargers, but an increase in the amount of vehicles that need to charge. And also because a lot of these chargers are owned by businesses and sometimes private businesses, they all want to earn money. So slowly they've started to increase the price, and they've jacked up the price at certain places to, of course, get back their initial investment, which is all fair and understandable. But this has really helped NIO actually, because if you look at what's happening, and I'll show you the numbers later on, for me as an early NIO buyer, and a lot of early NIO buyers, we get free swap, unlimited free swap. So this is just music to our ears, like, oh my God, thank God I bought this EV. I bought a NIO. We get free swap. We don't have to worry about this swapping and electricity fee. And guys, keep in mind, it's not really the electricity fee going up. It's more like just the chargers, and everybody's raising the prices for charging in general. So exactly how is NIO being benefited twofold by this whole entire situation? The first reason is because if you buy NIO right now, even though you don't get free swap for life, you still get 30 free battery swap vouchers. A lot of other EV brands, they don't do that here in China anymore. And if you swap about once a week, that can last you pretty much almost a year. So you can pretty much swap for a year for free, and then also charge occasionally. So this is a huge boost for NIO when customers are worried about this high EV charging prices. And then the second thing, which is the most amazing part, battery swapping is cheaper than charging now. Yep, you heard me right. Not only do you save time, but you also save money. That is if you have to pay for swaps, all right? Me, I don't pay for swaps, but a new NIO buyer right now, if they wanted to pay for swaps, swapping is actually cheaper than charging. And I'll show you the numbers to prove my point. So at the NIO service center that I go to and film at constantly, and that's also where I'm going to film the ES8 test drive video tomorrow, so subscribe and hit the bell. There's that NIO swap station, and then there's NIO superchargers, NIO power chargers on the side. Here is the fee structure. Now from the fee structure, we can tell that at the swap station, the fees range from 0.66 per kilowatt hour upwards to 1.43 per kilowatt hours during peak hours, plus 30 swapping fee. And for the superchargers, the power chargers, it goes from 1.37 to 2.13 kilowatt hour for NIO owners. I'll talk a little bit more about prices for non-NIO owners later. So what can you expect to pay for swapping versus charging at that exact location? So for a 70 kilowatt hour battery pack, if you swap, you can expect to pay between 76 RMB to 130 RMB, whereas if you charge, you can pay between 96 to 149. This is up to 26% more expensive for charging compared to swapping. And then for the 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, if you swap, you can expect to pay between 96 to 173 RMB per swap, whereas for charging, you have to pay 137 to 213 RMB to charge, which is up to 42% more expensive than swapping. So you not only save money, and you also save time. And by the way, guys, this is my how many times I've swapped and how much I've saved in time alone. I have swapped a whopping 165 times, and the time saved compared to if I were to charge 4 days, 5 hours, and 9 minutes of time saved. That's a lot of time that would have been spent charging if it wasn't for battery swap. And you guys might be thinking, how does NIO make battery swap cheaper than charging? Well, this is another benefit of battery swap that you guys probably did not know, and that's the fact that NIO is able to charge the batteries when the electricity fees are the lowest. That way, the cost of charging all the batteries are just super low. That way, NIO can also provide the battery swaps at peak hours, but the electricity inside that battery was charged when electricity was the cheapest. So this is just absolutely another amazing benefit of battery swap. So of course, this benefits NIO in the way that, hey, you know, you got to choose our car because our car can battery swap, but also because of NIO power. All right, NIO has one of the biggest charging infrastructure here in China, and a lot of the times they jack up the prices very high for competitors. I've seen as high as 5 RMB per kilowatt hour, which is absolute robbery, guys. That's all money going to your pockets, to shareholders. But people have no other option, you know. BYD's not building chargers there. Tesla's not building chargers there. It's only NIO building chargers there. You wanted to drive an EV there, then you gotta charge over at NIO's supercharger. You got no choice. For example, if you're an Xpeng owner and you wanted to charge at the superchargers at that service center, you can expect to pay upwards to 2.61 per kilowatt hour compared to NIO owners with just 2.13 per kilowatt hour. And of course, if you charge a lot, this makes a huge difference. And guys, NIO's power business alone is worth billions and billions of dollars. So even if you strip away the EV company and just look at it from a charging business, boom, that thing just pulls in money like it's robbing the bank. NIO has a ton of chargers also on the highways. During Chinese New Year, when everybody's trying to go back to their hometown and they're driving EV, they have to charge. There's no other option. They either charge or the car doesn't make it there. And it's especially during these periods of time that NIO absolutely jacks up the price for non-NIO owners. 5 RMB per kilowatt hour. So even though they make swapping free for the highways for NIO owners, they absolutely make it back from charging and robbing, getting all that money from non-NIO EV owners. And these guys, they got to look at themselves and see, oh my God, I'm waiting in massive lines for a NIO charger, and I see that NIO car swap and go, and that guy's swapping for free. He saves money and he saves time. I got to go buy that car. What am I doing here waiting in line for? So every year during national holiday, NIO power, NIO's chargers absolutely pull in massive amounts of money. And this whole entire EV charging prices rising does nothing but benefit NIO power.